So I noticed that Amazing Spider-Man 798 came out. The reason I noticed that was because I had to go through the order and check for damage. There was quite a few of them.
798 is a huge issue for Amazing Spider-Man and for the comic book industry in general. It's the introduction of a brand new Spider-Man villain, the Red Goblin. It's also winding down Dan Slott's time on Amazing Spider-Man. He's been writing Amazing Spider-Man for a little more than 10 years. He has left an indelible impact on the series. He's one of those title-defining writers. He's right up there with Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane. He's been on the book for so long. He's really redefined the character, and his time's coming to an end. They're winding down to 800, which will be his final issue. So he's got now 2 left, and so he's going out with a big bang. He saved some of his best for last. So with the introduction of the Red Goblin, speculators and collectors and readers, there's a lot of industry buzz around this issue, plus the fact that it's coming up on issue 800 and Dan is leaving. A lot of people are really wanting to collect this issue, so it's been really, really popular and really, really hot. We've been selling a ton of issues here at Nirvana. It's already sold out at the Diamond distributor level. Supplies are starting to dwindle in local comic book shops everywhere. So it's going to be a really hot book that's going to rise in value very soon on the secondary market. It's been a while since there's been a major first appearance like this. Spider-Man villains are about the closest thing to a sure bet for a comic book collector that you can get. I mean, if you look at the history of Spider-Man, go all the way back to the low-numbered issues and follow it all the way up through Venom in 300 or Carnage in 361. All of these characters, their first appearances have been massive hits. I mean, and they have increased in value exponentially. They're extremely valuable and highly sought after by collectors. So when Marvel decided to introduce a brand new villain, the Red Goblin, in issue 798, of course, collectors and speculators and readers and everybody got really hyped about it. So it's been a really busy week. Marvel printed somewhere between 150 and 250,000 copies of this book to try to meet demand, and they still weren't able to meet demand. It was still sold out at the distributor level on the first day that it launched. So the way comic books work, Diamond is the comic book distributor. They sell comics to every comic book store in the United States. So once Diamond sells out of its initial print run, then there's no more to be sold to the comic book stores. So that means once all the comic book stores sell out of their inventory, then there won't be any more for customers to come and buy on the direct market. So everybody will have to go, who wants it, will have to go to the secondary market like eBay or buying from speculators and things like that. So that's when the demand is really going to take off for this book, and you're going to see the prices really start to spike once comic book retailers sell through their inventory. But as with anything, when there's a big launch like this for a really hot book, it creates some tension in the industry. Between you've got different groups of people who collect and read comics for different reasons. You have your long-term loyal readers who show up and pick up Amazing Spider-Man every single time an issue comes out. You have people who are just casual readers who just pick it up every now and again when something interests them. You have your collectors who just want to collect milestone issues like first appearances, and then you have your speculators. And your speculators are the guys who want to come in anytime there's a first appearance or a major key issue, and they want to go into the shop on day one and they want to buy 10, 20, 30 copies of the book, and they want to store it away in the hopes that it's going to go up in value. And a lot of times what happens in shops is the speculators will swoop in, they'll show up, they'll be here 30 minutes before the store opens. They'll be waiting outside the door, and they'll come in and they will try to buy every copy the store has before the regular customers can get there. And store owners, we have to make some decisions and choices. Sometimes the store owner is completely caught off guard by it, and they're not prepared for it, especially new store owners. When we first opened our store 10 years ago in Wilmington, we had this happen with the first appearance of Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. We weren't prepared for the speculators to show up to buy a book like that, and so we sold out of all of our copies on day one. We thought it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, we was like, oh wow, we sold every copy right there. But what we really quickly realized is we then didn't have copies of the book for our regular customers, and that upset our regular customers. So over the years, we've learned that we need to prepare for that. So with 798, what we did, we knew there would be speculators. So what we tried to do was once we found out that Red Goblin was going to make the appearance in this book, we put the word out like, hey, if you want multiple copies of this book, we are happy to order them for you in advance. But you have to let us know before the final order cutoff date. If you want 10 copies, I'll order you 10 copies. If you want 50 copies, I'll order you 50. It's fine. You have to let me know in advance so that I can do that. And I'll order those specifically for you, just like we talked about in the last time you were here. And I'll order them in advance. You'll pay for them in advance, and you'll show up the day it launches, and you'll pick up your 25 copies. I had a couple people do that with us, and they showed up and were happy, and they walked away with their multiple copies of the book and everything else. But if you didn't get the orders in advance, then what we had to do, we didn't have to do it, but we chose to limit purchases to 2 copies of the book per customer. We didn't want to create a situation like Best Buy does on Black Friday, where you felt like you had to be here an hour early or you were going to miss out. Because we have customers, some of our customers can't come until the weekends because they work. Some of our customers can't come until the afternoon on Wednesday because they have to drop their kids off at school or they have jobs or whatever. Different customers who do different things. So we want to make sure that when you come to Nirvana, for as long as possible, we're going to have this book for you at cover price, so that you can come in and pick it up if you want it. So we limited the ability to purchase it to 2 per customer. All of our subscribers were able to subscribe in advance to as many copies as they wanted in advance, and it worked out very well for us. We had a couple people, couple speculators who were upset because they didn't get to come in and buy 20 copies off the shelf at a discount, and their intention was to come in. They were going to buy 20 from us, expecting us to give it to them at a 40% discount, and then they were going to turn around and sell them on eBay for $10, $20 a piece.
You mentioned speculators before. Like the viewers here, I'm kind of learning what all this stuff is. What do you mean by speculators?
Speculators are people who invest in comic books. You can think of comic books like a stock market. They go up, they go down. Some people make money, some people lose money, things like that. So what speculators want to do is they want to try to guess which books are going to be hot, which books are going to go up in value rapidly, and they want to try to buy as many of those books at the lowest possible price so that they can turn around and sell them on eBay or on My Comic Book Shop or other online places like that at the biggest return possible. They are an essential part of the comic book industry. There's nothing wrong with what they do. Absolutely nothing wrong. They're a business just like we're a business. They just have a different model and different goals than we do. They have to think more short term than we do here as a brick and mortar retailer. We think more long term, fostering customer relationships when they're just mostly focusing on maximizing their profit. And there's a lot of tension with speculators and just the general comic book reading public, just because speculators a lot of times will come in and scoop up the entire supply of a hot comic book like we were talking Amazing Spider-Man 798 or Thanos number 13 a couple months ago that came out, which was the first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider. When they get word that a book's going to be hot, they send people out to multiple comic. It's a business, it's an industry. They send people out to multiple comic book shops, and they're there before the shop opens, and they come in and they just grab the entire stack off the shelf and they scoop it up at cover price so that when the regular customers get there, there's none to be had for the regular reader, and the reader's only recourse is to go online and buy the book at an inflated price. We put a lot of money into, as we've discussed, into the inventory that we put into our store. We don't get to just order the hot book. we don't get to just order 100 copies of the key issue or 1,000 copies of the key issue. You know, we have to order, you know, multiple copies of hundreds of books that are just regular old books that just regular readers show up to read every week. So we don't, you know, and a lot of the books that we sell don't sell at cover price. A lot of them sell at a deep, deep discount if they sell at all. That's kind of the dirty secret of the comic book industry, is that most books that you see that comic book stores order don't sell at all, and very few books sell at cover price. Most comic book stores have to discount their inventory to entice readers to show up at the store to buy the books, because we're competing with other retailers. We're competing with online, eBay and Amazon, massive retailers who, you know, order these things in gigantic quantities, who can cut the price out from under you. And it's really, really hard as a local brick and mortar business. So when a hot book like Amazing Spider-Man 798 comes out, there is a point when the brick and mortar retailer does have to give in to the market forces, and you do have to sell some of your inventory at market price. When this book, our rule here at Nirvana is that we will keep new release comics at cover price until one of three things happens. Either the book has been out for a week, or the book hits $20 on eBay, or we have fewer than 5 copies left. Okay? Once any of those three things happen, if we have fewer than 5 copies left, if the book is selling for more than $20 on eBay, or if it's been out for more than a week, then we'll go back and we'll reprice the book, and we'll price it according to what Comics Price Guide or Overstreet or My Comic Shop or eBay says the price of the book, what it's worth. Otherwise, you'll find the book at cover price here at Nirvana until one of those three things changes. And that's the business model that works for us. Other shops may do it differently, and that's fine. You know, we don't judge other people for how they do business. We don't want other people judging us, but we've found over 10 years of doing business, that's the best way and the fairest way for us to be able to sustain the quality customer service experience that we offer here at Nirvana, to be able to offer the level of quality merchandise that we have here, and to the level of customer service expertise. You know, you get a different experience when you come to shop with us. It's not just a typical retailing experience. You know, you get a personalized, friendly, knowledgeable, almost a concierge service when you come here, and you know that's expensive for us, you know, and we put a lot of money into the way we display things and the way we do things here, so that sometimes means we're not the cheapest place around, and that's okay. You know, if the bottom dollar, if the cheapest possible price is what's important to you, then we may not always be the shop for you, but that's okay. We're confident and happy with the service we provide.